Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and today I wanted to do a three-part video on Invicta watches. Uh, First part I want to do is an unboxing of a Pro Diver. I just kind of got it because the price was good, and this is the one I'm wearing now. I've had this one for, I believe, 5 years now, so that's going to be kind of a review on this, like how it's been over the years, and then I guess you could say an Invicta collection, which is just going to be these three. I'm not a big Invicta fan, but I think for the money, they are pretty good at their price range. But I really don't see myself getting any more. I really didn't even need to get this one. I don't remember the box when I bought this one having the sleeve on it. Plus, this looks like a cardboard box. And I think, well, I know that the other one was like in that yellow, kind of like a Rolex inspired box with that like rubber. Obviously, I've never owned a Rolex. I'm not sure if their boxes are rubber or leather, but that one was modeled to be a higher end box, to where I think this is cardboard. That often so. Yeah, this is definitely cardboard. Now, okay, there goes that. I was kind of going to complain, but since it's actually still there's still somewhat of a hook or a hinge on it. Though I don't think it's a spring, it's probably just a piece of cloth with some tension. And I don't like that they put that those little pieces of tape because it left a sticky residue here. So now, yeah, it's gonna collect a bunch of crap, and I don't think, since it's cardboard, you probably can't wipe it off or just rip the box. It is a nice box, but that's enough of that, quite frankly. And now this is one thing I'll say, I'd rather have this piece of foam because the little pillow that they give you is like so cheap. This is what a nice pillow should be like. It's like cardboard. So it has a nice backbone that's nice, seamless, and stuffed tightly. To where the other one was just real flimsy. This is pretty nice. Here's the watch. It looks excellent. I actually think some of the detail in here is better than what this one was, and that's kind of what I want to get into when I review this one. Let's see. It's all cardboard in here. I think that's all there is to this. So I don't know when they've been doing this, when they switched to this. Is it because of how the economy is? But, or maybe they've been doing it for years. But I think I paid $66 for this watch. At that price, you can't even complain. I mean, it's an excellent movement. That's why I bought another, just for this movement. It's really good. Okay, I don't know if the older models had this, but I really like that they don't have a price on it. When they said $3.99 or $7.99, that was just crap. These watches, maybe if it didn't say Invicta, it said some other brand that didn't have like somewhat bad reputation that Invicta kind of has with people. But everyone knows the price of these watches, so I'm glad they didn't put like the ridiculous markup that they never go for. And I'm not going to well, it looks wonderful. The second I took that off, I can see why people like this watch. But you can see there isn't a anti-glare or AR coating on that. And then some people will say, well, these watches are junk because they don't have crystal or sapphire. I would imagine these watches are so popular. I would imagine there's mods for it, just like an SKX. If it matters that much, and you want to spend the money, just get a sapphire crystal. Maybe get a ceramic bezel. That's a problem with this one. Now, I really like this bracelet. I believe it's basically the same as what their Speedway is. This actually looks better than the two-tone gold with this polished middle piece, which you can see mine starting to show some scratches. You could probably polish them out, but you get brushed, and then the middle, I'm not sure if you call this an oyster or not. I'm not the biggest fan of this clasp, but you know, they work. They're stamped. But again, you don't like it, put it on a NATO, or I'm sure again you can get a better one of solid end links. I'll talk about this one in a little bit. So this watch, I'll go ahead, get them all in here. This was my first automatic. I kind of thought a little bit more highly of this watch when I first bought it. You know, it was 5 years ago. One of my first nicer pieces. An excellent watch to get into just because it's cheap. I think I pay like $75 for it. This one, again, it's in the $60 price range. It was up a couple of days ago in 110, 116. Don't pay that. But anywhere from 60 to 80, that's a great deal. And again, I don't need any more than these two, but they have a huge array. So for people that collect these are the Invictas to get. I mean, obviously, we know it's a Rolex homage. There's some things I don't like. I don't really care. I mean, there's too much signing. You got the emblem, the script. It's on the crown, and then here. So I could definitely do without that. And they have the open back, more signing. So this was obviously on here, and though it did look pretty good, it wasn't as comfortable, and then some of the gold was starting to, just slightly, I think, like where this clasp is starting to get marred. And then anytime I'd wear these when I'd actually be working, I don't know, I would get more of a rash here. Maybe there's some nickel, even though it says stainless steel. Certain stainless steels don't bother me at all. So whether just this one just trapped the sweat more, or if there is something that was reacting, didn't really like these. I put this NATO on. I started wearing this again. I haven't worn this in a long time, probably a few years. The movement, well, it's the same movement in both of these. But for me, I think at the first I was about plus 5 seconds per day. But I think if you wear it more, I don't know why, maybe it's in my head. I think it's more like plus 3. Now, one thing I'll say, if you wind it up or wear it and then you sit it down, I think it's like 36 maybe hours power reserve. But it seems like if you sit it there for that duration, it'll actually run faster, so like 10 or 15 seconds fast per day. And it seems like if you wear it, it keeps better time. Now, I'm not sure how true that is. People that know these watches would know that. But either way, and especially because this movement has hacking. So, I'd rather it run fast. Let it run, 10 seconds elapse. And then you're back in time. You don't have to. And it has, that's one thing I like that my SKX doesn't have, is hacking, and it has manual wind. So you don't have to just do this. And then a lot of times I'll put them on, and then in 10 minutes they didn't get enough charge from doing this, and then they stop. So I love just being able to wind it a little bit. And you can see here, it is a screw down crown. Okay. Feels good. Feels about the same as the other one, which is what you'd expect. Let's see if there's a little bit of play in this one. It doesn't really want to go this way, but I can kind of get it before it clicks. But it doesn't really want to push back. This one does a little bit. It'll kind of go back a little bit. That's just your quality control, but I mean, it's nice and stiff though. So, I mean, you could still use it. I've never really used these, kind of unnecessary. I mean, you can, and I have, but it's really not necessary. Let me take this off camera, see if things line up. Just real quick inspection. I think things are pretty good. Now, one thing I'll say, and this will probably be the last thing I'm going to really talk about in terms of quality control. To me, the IN in that Invicta looks like it's kind of angled this way, and the Victa is like straight, and the IN's kind of like that. And let's wait until that second hand passes. Let's see if I can get this. It just doesn't look completely straight. Maybe you can see that the IN just looks like it's a little bit higher and crooked. And then their little wing part, their little logo, doesn't look as raised as it did on this one. Like the Invicta looks a little bit better. Looks to be a little bit more in line. Now in this one, the I and the N kind of look like, it might just be their script, but it kind of makes it look like they're not completely straight. Like the eye looks a little bit slanted. But I like how, to me, it looks like their logo. It just looks like it stands up higher. Like it's more of an applied indice on here. It looks better, if you know what I mean. Like watches that have raised hour markers and chapter, they just kind of stand out more. And you can really see, it might just be this dial that makes it stand out more. But this dial looked better to me than this one in terms of the logo and the signing. And it kind of looks like, again, maybe it's just because it's black on silver, so there's more of a contrast. But this one looks like it stands out a little bit more. So I'm not sure if that was, again, a QC thing or just the differences in models, that maybe they have different raised logos or something. I don't know. But I'm pretty happy with this. I have this NATO strap that I'm going to put. I'm not even going to use this. I'm not going to size this bracelet. If I want to wear a metal one, I'll just wear this Speedway. This is an quartz. It looks really good. It's really sharp. And I don't know, as far as the Daytona goes, if they have a face like this where it's silver and then there's like a brushed, like a high polish brushed ring. A lot of them are either white or black, to where this is like just all metal. And it just really looks sleek. And it looks expensive, but it's not. It's affordable. And it's quality movement. You know, it's quartz. So, I mean, I don't think I've ever changed the battery in this one. I've had this for quite a few years as well. So if I want something to be a little more classy, I'll wear that one. I'm going to use both of these more as beater watches. Put this on a NATO. And one tip I'll say, especially with the watch like this, when you're going to put it on a NATO, I always go to the Amazon reviews, and I like to see the NATOs that people put on them. Leather, rubber, just different nylon ones, different fabrics. This is more of a smooth seatbelt kind. Others are more the drier, scratchier feeling nylon, the cheaper. These are like $16. Those other ones are like $8 to $10, so I'd rather pay a little more and get this smooth, and they're softer. I've tried elastic. I have an orange elastic, which is more expensive. And I saw a review, or posted in the Amazon review, the picture of this colorway, so the black and silver. And I was going to go with this because this is just a typical combo that people go with. So it's kind of cool to have that style. But someone had one on an orange NATO, and I thought it really looked good. It just popped. You wouldn't think that it would, but it looked good. That's the best way I can put it. So I have one. It's supposed to come tomorrow, and I have it now. but I want to try that orange NATO as well. But for more something a little understated, I'll go with this. This one's great too, just that two-tone. And that was one of the scrapes I got, and you can see I have a little dent right there. There's a dent in that bezel, maybe a couple lighter just hits, and then that really big scrape there, which that actually kind of annoys me. And this one looks great. Now, obviously, at this price point, you're never going to get a ceramic. Hopefully, I just don't bump it and scrape it up like this one. But again, I'm sure there are people that mod it and put ceramic inserts in there if you wanted. But for the price, you could kind of just buy another one. And I've been looking through it for the viewfinder for most of this, but when I look at this one in person, man, this looks really good. Now this one looks good too. Again, that was just as a first watch, it just looked really classy to have a two-tone with some gold, because I really don't like gold watches or have gold watches, but that nice gold coin bezel and the gold hour markers and the crown looked excellent, but this looks even better. So this is the most popular model, just the standard one. I'd probably go with this one over this one, but it doesn't hurt to have both. And they've asked me if this is a Rolex, so obviously it's not, but that kind of just speaks for itself to the quality. That from a distance, it does kind of give off that appearance of a quality watch, so that's always good. And it's a solid movement. So it's kind of a review. I mean, I've had no problems with this one, and I'm looking forward to this one. It looks like it's the same rotor and all that. I think the older ones would say Japan movement, but even this one didn't. I bought this one in 2017, and I think the rotor wasn't painted orange or yellow. I think that was an older gen or something you would call it. But I think I'll go ahead and leave it here for now. So I haven't worn it too much, probably well under 100 wears, maybe like 50. But this one's solid. I'm going to enjoy this, have some fun with the NATOs, and enjoy some Invictas. Last thing I'll say, I'm not a big fan of Invicta. I mean, most of their stuff is just not for me. I remember in the unboxing of this one, I said there was a reserve one that I wanted to get, and now that I'm more into watches, I would never get anything other that Invicta makes aside from these homages. These are the best watches they make. They just look wonderful. I think they're tasteful. The only thing, again, I think that signing here on that is a little much. Whether they were required to do that to differentiate it more from the Rolex, I don't know. I don't like that, but that's not embarrassing. It's kind of tacky. But as far as Invictas go, this is all I would want that they make that interests me. One thing I'd like to say is I would actually like to see a Seamaster homage. I don't know, not a replica or a knockoff, but I don't know if anyone makes a Seamaster homage. I don't see anyone that makes one like that. That would be something cool if Invicta could make either one, but I would prefer the Seamaster. And of the price of these and my other watches, I probably could have bought like one quality watch, like an Omega or something. But at the same time, I think it's fun to have, a 6 to 10, 12 watch collection. So I think mine's around 12 or so now. So maybe I could have had one high-priced watch, but then you have one watch. Can't really change it up too much aside from the strap. And I like having some G-Shocks, and then some automatics, and a skeleton automatic, and some chronographs. And it's kind of fun. So I definitely don't really need to add more. So I'm thinking of a Squale maybe for the next higher up. That's around the $1,000 price range. And then maybe beyond that, toward an Omega. And then one day if the big bucks ever come in, maybe I'll go with the Rolex. But these are fun watches. So that's kind of the story of my Invicta collection. Probably where this collection will end. But it doesn't hurt to have it in your collection because they're just respectable watches, I think. And mostly just that movement's good. And they do look good. So for the price, I don't think they're really a poser watch. You really can't complain because I think they're giving you a lot of quality for not a lot of money. So hopefully that's helpful. Show you off what this model looks like, how this one's held up, and then the only other one that I think is really worth getting. But again, people, I know there's some diehard Invicta collectors that have all the different styles, and I'm glad they do make a lot of other ones, even though some are kind of tacky, like the sponsored, like the partnership ones with other brands. But I don't know. I'm happy with these ones. So I'll leave it here. Thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.